Hi folks, it's me again. This is Chris, and this is part 2 of a series that will go on for a long time because I have a story to tell. So in the early 2000s, I was a vice president at Goldman Sachs, and life was good. I had 3 teenagers, and I thought I was on top of the world. And yet I had this hole in my heart. You see, money doesn't make you happy. And maybe many of you are feeling this way. You know, you have a career and you are doing the 9 to 5, the whole thing that everyone expected you to do. And yet something was missing in my life. And I felt like I needed to have a life of more purpose. In 2006, I set out on a volunteer venture. I went to Sri Lanka for the first time on a volunteer trip. You see, I had 6 weeks vacation and 3 weeks carryover that I was just unable to take due to the demands of working in a high, fast paced, high stress job at Goldman Sachs. Also, I worked in the Boston office, so there weren't a lot of people that can cover me when I was out. Anyway, I had this yearning, and I had a yearning to do more. You know, I met a lot of people along this journey who felt the same way. They've been in the corporate world for a long time and they felt like their life had no meaning. And I felt like I needed to have some meaning. So, anyway, in 2006, I set out on a volunteer trip to Sri Lanka. I went to a town of Galle in the southern part to help rebuild houses for tsunami victims. It was an enlightening trip, and I met some wonderful people who I'm still friends with along the way. But I didn't have that instant connection to continue working in Sri Lanka. I came back to work, and life was humdrum again. It was just going like a well-oiled machine. Every morning I would wake up and, go to work and, look after the kids and make sure that everyone had everything, and everything was just going. So when it came time to having some vacation time in 2007, I set my sights on going to Tanzania. I didn't really look at the country or the destination. It was more of what I could be doing. After going to Sri Lanka in 2006, I realized that I wasn't the building type, especially when it's 95 degrees outside and you have to get up a rickety old ladder. Building houses was not really my thing. So I went to Tanzania with a dear friend of mine who was also a colleague, and we went to Arusha, Tanzania to work with Maasai women. And we helped them make and design jewelry. It was an enlightening trip. I don't know if we really helped that much in hindsight. I think all they really wanted us to do was to buy their jewelry from them. But while I was there, I was feeling really, really grateful for everything that I had in life. We were living in we were living with a Maasai family in the outskirts of Arusha. It was really enlightening. We had no indoor plumbing and no electricity. And the women do all the work there. I mean, it was just an incredible. Here we are there to help. And this poor family that we stayed with, I felt like we were just creating more work for them rather than helping. The mother would go out way before we would wake up, and she would, get the wood for the fire. She would go get the water to boil for us. She'd start the fire, she'd boil the water so we can have a warm bucket shower. And then she would make tea for us, and this is way before we would wake up. I just felt like we were such a burden for this woman. She had one child, or many more since now. Anyway, Mama Nosum was a terrific woman. She didn't speak English, but she worked hard, and I had a lot of respect for everything she did. And I said, wouldn't it be nice to go to church tomorrow and just say thank you for everything we have? You see, life is contingent to where you were born. And that was a wide awakening for me because this woman was smart, hardworking, but with no opportunities, right? Very, very little opportunities. So we walked to church the next Sunday. It was a long walk. We were dressed in the finest of African clothing, and we must have walked about 8 kilometers down this dirt road, and we were like the Pied Piper. There were chickens and goats and dogs and children all following us to see where these two white women were going to go. Anyway, we ended up at an old rundown schoolroom, and it wasn't so much the rundown schoolroom that had the impact on me. It was the people that all traveled great distances to attend this church service. All right, there had to be 300 people dressed in their finest clothes, all walking extra lengths, many, many kilometers, with their Bibles in their hands and their children on their back. And it was definitely the highlight of their week. I have never seen faith like that. These people were believers. And when Mass began, it was all in Swahili, and Pat and I didn't have a clue what was going on. And we had these beady eyes looking at us to see how, what we were doing. But when the music began and the dancing started, these people danced with their hearts and their souls. And there was no electricity in the school, but I remember vividly the way they had shakers and washboards and their voices and their dancing to go along with it. It was just transformative. And I was really moved. I was just moved by, I was moved. These people have absolutely nothing. Anyway, after Mass was over, the pastor and some of the parishioners took us on a walk through the village, and we walked through the coffee plants and the banana plantations, and we came upon this clearing down a hill. And they said, "This is our land, and one day this is where our church will be." And I was moved, and people had given me some money to say, do something good with it. And we took that $1,500 and we bought cinder blocks and bags of cement so they can start building their church. I didn't want to be like many other Westerners or Americans who go back home after a trip like that and just go back into life as normal and forget the experience and the impact that their lives had on me. So when I came home, I researched about starting a nonprofit organization, what I needed to do, how much it was going to cost, what it entailed. And that's for the next video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Next video, I will go through the steps of opening that nonprofit and what I learned along the way. All right, thanks for watching again. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Have a good day.